Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the latest one-to-one in the Digital Dialogue series. Here we are, Martin Redmayne as your usual host. Today I'm joined by two very unique characters in the world of design and naval and architecture and engineering. Bart and Marnix from the world-renowned Vripack. Is it Vripack Yachting or Vripack Naval Architecture? Or what is the final part, or just Vripack? What is it?
Vripack Yacht Design, if you do it very original. Well, we don't mind. We don't mind.
Okay.
Either way.
Okay, Bart and Marnix, how are you both?
Yeah, I think we're pretty good. We're pretty good. The studio is buzzing, and new clients still call. So despite our current world, so we could be in a worse place. I think we're lucky. Yeah, I think we're lucky.
Yeah, and we're also lucky that for sure we have an ambition, and we see our projects growing by the month in size, in length, but also in intelligence, in innovation. So we're good. We're good.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So my first question really relates to, let's say, how have you as a Vripack organization changed as a result of what's been going on in the world? Anything changed within your mindset, your philosophy, your approach to work?
I wouldn't necessarily say something really changed. I think it got sped up times 10, where we were already thinking we were running really, really fast, because we were already pretty, as designers, I think any designer is already pretty digital. So like the minute we had the lockdown, we got to work from home. I think within 4 hours, everybody was at home, back online, because that's what we do every day, right? Yeah. And then also, as you've displayed in your magazines and website far enough, is that virtual reality, online meetings, it was already in our system. We did way more of them, way more often as well. But it kind of, it was quiet for a couple of weeks where clients were like, okay, what's going to happen? And then when everybody kind of settled in, it kind of sped up times 10. Yeah.
And as such, I think everybody was aware that indeed people are a little bit more at home, more relaxed, more focused, more also keen to do pleasant stuff. So I think of everything, the intensity of our client collaboration grew. Yeah, absolutely.
And that to me is a positive in the market, really, isn't it? To get more interaction with the client is valuable.
Super cool.
Yeah,
obviously. Super cool. Because we like, and our team thrives on this project energy. The more energy there is in a project, the more flow you have, the more dynamic, the more quick in and out, back and forward, up and down. It's super cool.
Yeah, and I think that's something that sometimes gets lost in translation in terms of the way in which, let's say, clients can really enjoy a project if they have that dynamic and that energy with a design team. Yeah. I know most of your team, and it is about the energy and the dynamics and the personality.
Yeah, and especially as we like to underpin design with naval architecture and engineering, there is a lot of dynamic. There's not only the design dynamic, but also the technical, naval architecture, safety, comfort dynamic. There's a lot of dynamic which we then can bring to the table, and that's it's a little bit intense, but it's good.
That's likely.
That's cool. Good. Okay, listen. One of the things we try to talk about in these one-to-ones is, let's say, if you take the market as a whole and the industry as a space that you all work in, what are the things that you guys think we really should adapt or change or evolve for a smarter future? What can we do better?
You start first, Marnix?
Wow, it's a good one, right? It's a good one. I'm not. Yeah, what can we do better? Well,
no, and maybe do differently. Maybe not so much better, because better is very personal. But I think as we see clients getting younger, I think the industry should offer different boats. And then it's for the client to decide it's better or not. But I think different boats with more creative layouts, with different technology, just offer a wider choice.
Yeah.
I think that's because ultimately that will attract more clients to buying a boat or chartering a boat or enjoying a boat or because what we need is more people into boating.
Yeah. That's a big part of our, so let's say, industry mission now is to educate and inspire new clients to get excited by this.
Yeah.
Are you suggesting potentially that the market is quite predictable in some areas in terms of the product we're showing?
No, it's not. That's not even a suggestion. I think it's clear for everyone to see that a lot of product coming out, and particularly indeed if you look at the younger clientele, or let's say not even by age per se, but maybe in experience in terms of boating. We hear things like what I see in the magazines is so boring. What I see on the water just doesn't excite me. Can't we do anything better? I just build a couple of big buildings in the heart of London, and we all use this faceted glass. Why don't I see any boat with? And I mean, so it's very difficult for these younger, again, not maybe by age but experience clients to appreciate our business, and they don't understand exactly why that is. So they quite easily maybe think it couldn't be done different because it's floating on the water, which obviously it does. So maybe it's not possible to do these kind of things. But at the same time, the word boring comes a lot of times to mind. And I think, well, at least in our profession, from the design part, that's definitely something we can improve and change, and at least inspire people. And then, I'm not talking about really wacky, crazy, futuristic only concepts, but architecturally interesting and challenging concepts which can be built, and have a part of sustainability in them and elements like that. Although I have to say, I think the industry is doing a really good job catching up on that. But compared to the other industries, again, where a lot of these new clients come from, we're still a bit lacking, but we're catching up. But some of this creativity and challenge without losing the boredom would be a good thing.
Yeah. Bart, anything to add?
No. And indeed, I think inspiration is a very important element because every change starts with inspiration. So any industry growth potential starts with inspiration. So I think, what could the industry do differently? Maybe getting a little bit away from the glamorous lifestyle around yachting, because that's for a certain segment. Cool, great, very nice. But there's a whole, maybe even a bigger pie of the chart, which is about enjoyment, about the fun, about the family, about experience, about traveling, which is not the glitter and glamorous lifestyle, but it's more having fun on the water. So I think focusing and showcasing that a little bit more is also maybe something not to be forgotten.
Yeah, I think that was a conversation I had yesterday with the team from Bamberg and Rowley. It's exactly that subject of, let's say, a little bit of simplicity and less ostentatious or excess. And going back to what I call pure comfort.
Yeah, which and for sure, it's definitely cool to see those amazing big yachts, super bespoke, super custom. It's one big art piece, including the finish of the engine room. It's magnificent. It's great, but that's for a certain clientele. But there's another clientele, maybe even a bigger group, says, but I want to just give me a Defender. Give me a Land Rover. It's fine, but because I can hook up this trailer, I can put on this winch, I can put on these plates. It's like, yes, that one, safe, fully safe. It's comfortable, and it's a little bit different. But I have a different user profile, so it's also to tap into a little bit into that, to inspire with that. I think there's a lot to be gained.
Yeah, because I think what's interesting, you mentioned about concepts being presented that are unbuildable, which is part of the problem. We have a lot of things being promoted that make no sense.
Which for me, which for us, which for Marnix and myself, is a little bit the wrong inspiration.
Yeah, agreed.
Because you're showing something which is not realistic. So that's fake. That's no. Actually, too easy.
Yeah.
Okay, so is this current landscape we're in today inspiring things like your new Futura concept and this new client base? Is that what the Futura is about? Your new, very cool elliptical superstructure project?
Yes.
I like it. I love it. I love it. In fact, I'm trying.
Well,
It
thank
is.
you.
Only because the way you, I'm not sort of, let's say, being too praiseworthy. It's just, it has a very good story to it. And what you said earlier on is we have to tell stories,
Yeah.
and designers are normally very good storytellers.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah. I think particularly with the Futura concept is that it was already a while ago that we really worked on the studio concept where we deliberately said this is going to be without the client. This is, of course, you're influenced by all the talks you have, but it's not made for the client. It's not one of these designs which gets sidetracked because the client doesn't want it anymore. It's really our vision. And what Bart and I were super keen on is that the beauty should come first. So yes, it's a very sustainable yacht. There's a lower footprint than any other boat out there, but it doesn't have to look like that, you know. So it can still look awesome and beautiful and cool, perhaps even, you know. Use new technologies and at the same time take care that the water's not being polluted too much and we're quiet, etc., etc. So yes, you're right. In a sense, it's what a designer can do. Obviously, it's what we can offer to this whole industry and world. Is visualize what we believe something like that could look like, and inclusive of sustainability, but not, you know, ugly because it's sustainable. It's just not necessary.
And in the same time, also allowing to be separate, so you can apply the same sustainability in a more traditional concept, or maintain the fantastic look and feel with the amazing layout and put a traditional driveline in.
Yeah.
For that. So to make sure that, and again, to inspire there, to not only inspire on the look and the functionality and the whole smart routing in the boat, but also inspire on, look, this is a cool boat, but look at these fantastic systems we have in the boat. Look at this footprint. Look at how we achieve this. Please, dig into this. Get inspired. Apply it in your own project. Do something with this because we have to make progress.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting subject. It's like innovation and progress and technology. Is it the risk that's around technology that stops our market moving forward with it?
I think as such, the where we all struggle with is that projects, you have so many influences in a project, and they all have their opinion, and ultimately it's a shipyard who needs to take on responsibility. And all these elements are all hurdles before you have an innovation implemented in your built boat. So, and as such, it takes a lot of confidence for an owner to really push an innovation and get it in his boat. And I think our Project Zero is a really cool example on how dedicated an owner and his wife. So absolutely, the two of them are pushing this very hard. What it requires to achieve a project which is fully fossil free.
Yeah, but you're right. I mean, even within Project Zero, we have this. We've introduced this difference between cutting edge and bleeding edge, and continuously talking. You know, we already have X amount of technology on the bleeding edge side. We might want to go back to the cutting edge side. You know, so. We're already having to do so much because we don't have any fossil fuel on board, and it's still a 70-meter luxury yacht. So it's a serious, let's say, piece which you have to move as resistance to the water. That you can only do so much technology within one yacht. And as Bart said, indeed, then you have, very rightfully so, a captain having to answer to that, and an owner's rep, and then now slowly a shipyard coming in who has also in the end to warrant that everything works, you know. So yes, technology and new technology could of course add too much risks, and maybe you can't afford it in one way or another, financially or just as a risk.
Yeah. No, because I think it goes back to the thing about being bored of what's on the market. You mentioned clients can see a boring landscape of projects. We had an era, maybe 10 years ago or so, where clients like Jim Clark or Tom Perkins was really into driving innovation.
Yeah.
They were so passionate.
Yeah.
And I think that's some of the maybe missing ingredients that we need to bring back, going back to that storyboarding and inspiring stuff. So it'd be lovely to see that come back. Is that what's happening in the West Coast of America at the moment, do you think?
Yeah, but not only that era which you talk about, and I really completely agree with what you just said. That era is the start of a new one. Is literally right now. The amount of project we're working on already is, I think, is more than a handful on really like far out there projects. And as you know, we're kind of keen on collaborating. So we're collaborating with other big names within our industry. Being it because some of the projects are large sailboats, and I know what their companies are working on, and you can see and then we're not working on that project, but I know they're working on stuff where you can see this is exactly like the Hyperion time, the Ethereal time. This is really happening now. A bit on our drawing board still, but it's just bound to tackle to shipyards as these owners, driven by exactly those kind of owners, with just a really clear mind of, I want to do this for the environment, or I want to do this on innovation. Yeah, absolutely happening right now.
Yeah,
but there's, to add to that, there's one final hurdle, is that in many of these projects, as Marnix said, they're on the drawing board, not only with us, but also with colleague architects. But now we need to make sure also the shipyards start embracing. We also need the shipyards to step into a can-do mode instead of not really sure. Let's jump back to how we were comfortable, what we were comfortable with. So there's a very interesting phase now for a lot of stakeholders to try to convince shipyards that that's also time for them to move forward.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting subject, Bart. I think you talked about sort of collaborating, and I think the best projects. And I'm looking when you mentioned Ethereal with Bill Joy. That was an ultimate collaboration. So many people who got together to optimize a project.
Yeah,
we have to almost look at crowdsource, open source, and other ways in which we can all validate cool stuff, because I think that's what the future looks like. There's people who are making billions, who have got really cruel ideas, but they don't want conventional, or they don't want what's happened before. And it's people like yourselves who can really inspire, but we need then the teams who can execute.
Of course.
And I think that's what as you say, the cliff edge is there. We now need to jump and fly.
Yeah, but I don't want to focus too much on the shipyard side of things. But as we are now working on two very large sailboat projects, which is a little bit a new area for us, we became aware that the collaboration between an architect and a shipyard in the sailboat industry is totally different in the motorboat industry.
Yeah, super interesting.
More co-creation, it's more sharing knowledge. It's a whole different, and as such, I think for an owner, a way more valuable and interesting process.
Yeah, way more pleasant.
It's like,
Yeah, just that's worth a separate meeting nearly.
Absolutely.
How could it be?
Absolutely.
How could it be that it's so different that particularly these sailing yachts, shipyards, are so open already, so completely not closed. There's no closed shop. They take care, of course, protecting their rightfully so intellectual property, but not to an extent that it's hurting future projects. And those shipyards are willing to collaborate in pre-engineering of these boats, even though they're not selected yet to the final thing. Because they are already understanding, and I think because a sailboat already, of course, is a very, very complex product, even more so than a modern motorboat. They understand that if they could understand the future product better, they can also offer it better and potentially build it better. But it's a whole it's really just a whole new thing to experience that. And if anything, indeed, Bart is right. Motorboat shipyards could honestly learn from that greatly.
Yeah.
In our understanding. I mean, we're not a shipyard. We might be completely wrong, but for what we see, we think, wow, that could be really beneficial for everyone.
Yeah.
Just for everyone.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It is. It is seriously interesting. It was like, huh?
Yeah.
Wow. Ooh. Yeah.
So talk about the sailboat market. What do you think is happening there in terms of the long term? Because obviously it disappeared for a short period of time and became a vacuum. But there's a resurgence now, isn't there? Something's happening out there.
Yeah.
Is that driven by sustainability, do you think? Or just a different mindset?
Well, yeah. I mean, still the numbers aren't obviously, there will never be hundreds of these numbers. So can we statistically say it's one or the other? I think it's as far as we can see from our project, it's definitely a combination. So, but first and foremost, it's an understanding of people that it's highly enjoyable to sail a boat, to put a sail on and just use the wind to propel yourself to somewhere, even if it's for 2 hours, and the technology of propelling these kind of boats, so the ease of sail handling, the ease of hoisting and lowering these sails, the speed of that. I mean, look at Sea Eagle 3. I think it takes them something like 10 minutes to get up that rig. Now, like 5 years ago, we could only do that with a dyno rig, but that's obviously aesthetically, you got to love it or hate it. But now we can do that with a traditional rig. I mean, that's nothing to stop you from doing a sailboat. It's just super easy. So the innovation there and the fun and the joy of that is already very large. And most of these owners like that kind of entertainment, because what do you do otherwise? You steer out a harbor and you have to steam 3 days, but you basically do nothing because the motorboat is just steaming for 3 days.
Yeah, there's no emotion.
Yeah, it's a combination, and then on top of that, it's more sustainable. We all get that, but it's not. It's both. I think it's both. Honestly, yeah.
One of your big topics within the Vripack sort of DNA is going beyond the normal cruising ground. Is that becoming a massive driver now for projects? Do you think we've got bored of the predictable med and we really have got a big ocean to explore? And is that what's driving you guys, exciting your clients?
Oh, yeah. Well, what is exciting our clients? I think what is exciting our clients over and over again is to surpass their expectations related to how the boat can work for them, how the boat can support, be an object to support their enjoyment, to enhance their enjoyment. And particularly that's related to the layout of a boat. How does the space work? How do the spaces connect? The serviceability of the whole boat. I think time and time there. If you look at the project, if you would be here and look at the project we're working on now, it's time and time again. It's that element, along with, for sure, it's underpinning. So if we do have the engine room in a whole strange, compared to tradition, strange location, it's underpinned. It will work. The SCR, the scrubbers are there. The exhausts are there. You won't have the smell on the back deck. So again, there not only the layout of the accommodation, but also the technical spaces, how that's arranged, just cleverly, all to enhance the enjoyment of a boat.
Yeah. So I think it's a difficult question to answer for us, Martin, because Vripack already from the heritage, even from the founder, way before Bart and myself, was doing these exploration vessels. So we're kind of that go-to company. So we do get a lot of these requests, but I'm not sure if that's like a global outset for the other designers as well. But I think it's fair to say, in general, people dare to look beyond the Med and the Bahamas. But at the same time, having said that, I spent an afternoon sailing this week in the Mediterranean, and there was absolutely nothing wrong with that, Martin. It was just fine.
The sea is the sea wherever you go, and it's still fantastic. It's still fantastic. Okay, let's say there's a little more a sort of focused question on the industry. we talked about shipyards and let's say resisting change in some cases, but what else frustrates you about our industry?
Well, this kind of still closed culture, this sometimes unwillingness to collaborate, and therefore giving the clients the idea there's something secretive about this, and therefore it becomes not so transparent, which actually they don't feel comfortable with. So why would you not be transparent about that? What's the big secret here? So that's definitely one of the elements. Which we would like to see changed, if anything, if possible. Just more collaboration, more openness throughout the whole industry. In the end, I think will benefit all of us, not just one. Who might be the leader of the pack. I get it. When you're the leader of the pack, you might think, "Okay, I'm not going to show this." But I think, well, as you know, we think when you're the leader of the pack, you should show it, because it will drive you further as well if people start hunting you down. And we need more leaders on the pack than just one or two. That's not sustainable for nobody, not even for the leader.
And there's one other element which is related to two words. It's quality and finish. It's interesting to try to separate these two wordings a little bit, because they both have their different meaning. Because if you look at the commercial boat, it's definitely a high quality but low finish. But people tend to say, no, that's low quality. No, it's not. So to start separating these two wording and start appreciating both of them in their own way, in their own area, is I think also interesting and valuable, because it will give a little bit more appreciation to other objects, not only in commercial versus yachting, but definitely within yachting itself. To start defining and separating both, I think is valuable as well.
Yeah, because I think going back to your point about the Land Rover Defender topic, you don't mind dinging your Land Rover and adding bits to it and scratching and painting over it and stuff. And I was talking to a project manager the other day about the amount of money we could save a client by not being so obsessed with the finish.
Exactly. It's only finish.
Focus on quality and going back to your experience topic. So maybe there's a new mindset we have to bring in with the pandemic influence almost. It doesn't matter how expensive the thing is. It's just, does it really deliver on purpose?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. No,
but again, exactly. also that awareness that change starts with inspiration. It's like, yeah,
absolutely. Okay, so in terms of the future, what do you think is going to happen in the next 5 years? What's your forecast?
Well,
blue sky.
Looking at it from the bright side, we will at least have much bigger oceans, as our polar caps are still melting. So that's definitely going to happen in the coming 5 years, and I do mean that with the sarcastic tone that I give in it, because it is obviously a massive problem, as is plastic pollution and all that other stuff, which I know still we believe, Bart and I believe, that there are solutions within the design offices to design yachts or whatever equipment's possible on yachts to see how we could, well, at least slow it down. I'm not sure if we can ever get rid of it, but at least slow it down or do something about it. And indeed, it's yes, our owners sail a lot of areas, and we get regular images of that they've been at a glacier at something. And most of the owners say, I'm here with a bittersweet feeling, because I love seeing this glacier and the breaking ice and the 1,000 icebergs we had to navigate through with the boat. But at the same time, I realize why these 1,000 icebergs are in the water and why this glacier is actually breaking. So the future, it's a bit of a two-sided story, of course, because we would like to do more yachts and bigger ones and extreme ones and maybe smaller ones. Doesn't really matter, fresh design. But at the same time, we're impacting that future as well. So it's a tough one. It's a tough one. But what we chose to do, at least, to also still keep driving the business as mortgages need to be paid, very, very just clear, is to do that inclusive. So like Futura, like Zero, is to make beautiful designs and celebrate that our clients are able to pay for it and invest it and want to challenge our industry, but then inclusive of future solutions to try to keep the world a little bit better place or slow things down which are happening.
Yeah. Bart, anything to add?
No. Just underline what Marnix just said. So. No, honestly.
All right, a tongue-in-cheek question. Will you miss boat shows this year?
The Germans have a good expression for that. What's that again? Jein, but is that not a good German expression?
Yeah, yes and no. Yes and no.
Yeah.
Yes and no.
No, but I'm more interested. We talked earlier about inspiration and, let's say, stimulating clients. And I've seen you walk around boat shows doing some quite crazy things, but also you're mainly meeting clients to present cool stuff. In your opinion, what can we do better to use those buyer experience showcases to inspire? Because it's not a really good example of a way of presenting what we built or what we can do.
Exactly.
Yeah, again, I think it's a whole. You could do a whole new video interview on thoughts about boat shows. But as we're designers, we think about things anyway. So you can't help yourself how you would improve things anyway. So again, so coming back to this topic about motorboats and sailboats, what always struck me as super odd, is that you have this beautiful new 5-deck, 80-meter motorboat, and next to it, this poor sailing boat shipyard, which has even has an equal length, much more pristine, lower profile boat, which has to display this product, like this. It's just like, I've never understood why there is not a sailboat section and a motorboat section in any boat show. I just never understood that. As simple as that. Just like, would be obvious for me. I love sailboats. I go to the sailboats. I like motorboats. I go to the motorboat. I could have never understand that,
Yeah.
And the same is
But there's one
separation
similarity
of
on both.
subcontractors and shipyards and like it's all different worlds. We all service the same client. That's one thing at least which pops to mind immediately where I would say if I was a show organizer, which we clearly are not, that would be something I would look into. Like, okay, that would be a better experience. Get everything at least from these two clear segments together.
Yeah. And size segments too.
Yeah, size is equal to something like this, right? I mean, it's lovely to see a 100-meter motor yacht, but if I'm in the market for, God forbid, only a 30-meter, it's. I would like to see more 30 meters probably.
Yeah. So, Bart, you're going to say something?
Yeah. So, sorry for interrupting you, Marnix. But there's one element which is the same on the motorboat and the sailboat. You have to take up your shoes before you want to go on a boat.
Oh yeah, that's like.
How about
clients
the boating lifestyle?
Clients,
come on.
Or you get this little wobbly seat where you have to.
Yeah.
That's even
You have
worse.
to step on your knees, and this is not. Oh no. Definitely, we need to find a solution for that.
Yeah,
Okay.
walk barefooted. Everybody barefooted from the entrance. That keeps everybody level.
Cover all the docks in sand.
Yeah.
Everyone's barefoot.
That's the better experience you want to have on the yacht. Yeah.
Good stuff. So, what's the rest of this year holding for you guys? Are you busy for the rest of the year? Crazy busy?
There's always room for one more, but
Always room for one. No, but I think how we started the intro, we see boats growing, which is truly cool. But in the meantime, we also see clients stepping from big boats into smaller boats, which is maybe even more intriguing.
Yeah. What, downsizing and getting rid of big boats?
Yeah, downsizing, because we had it, we've been there, we know the limitations. It's different. It looks nice, but it feels different. So let's go back how we started, because actually then we had more fun.
Yeah,
So
some say that. Yeah.
So from what size to what size, roughly?
No, from 60, 65 back to 500 GT. So that kind of moves. That this is absolutely, because why are they doing that? Because they're missing the the boating lifestyle. They're missing the enjoyment. They're missing being close to the water. So they know the importance of that little boating element is why you boat, and that's what they. So that even has more the focus in the development of that smaller boat. So that's because ultimately that's what it's about.
Yeah. Interesting. They could buy two for what the price of 165.
Depending on what you build. Depending
All right.
on
That's what you want. Absolutely. But they have to have the inspiration, as you said earlier on, and the stimulation. So I think the final comment is, this is just self-interest. What can the media do better for people like yourselves? Because I love Futura, and I think I haven't really looked closely enough at it, but I think it's a very, very clever project. What can the media do better for this topic of design, inspiration, and stimulation?
Wow. Well, I mean, in all honesty, already, particularly I guess on the sign, media, at least in all the recent years, has done really so much. I mean, in general, I have to say, as a designer, if you do a little bit effort, there's very good podiums you can get already. It's honestly true. I'm not, and I don't even. I mean, you got a great magazine, but there are more of these magazines around where if you give a bit of effort, they will gladly give you a podium to tell your story and showcase it. I can easily understand if you're a land-based architect, that will be much harder to do. Of course, there's more magazines, but there's also way more architects out there. So that's an interesting one. I mean, I think what media could prepare themselves for, and what I find interesting, is that we do indeed a lot of animations and virtual reality, and I think we pride ourselves on doing it in pretty high quality. And there's really it hardly gets that part hardly gets picked up, or there's not a good podium for that. So quickly in general, not you specifically, Mark, but quickly a journalist will say, "Oh, do you have a rendering? I can't use this virtual reality model." And then in our book, you would say, "How could you not use this VR model? You have a website. This is like the file you want to have to give your readers." So I think I see more architects doing this indeed. You could be prepared for that, definitely. That will be more and more the new standard on all the things our companies produce. Yeah.
And only give visibility to stuff that can be built.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you can't. It also serves a purpose. It also we just think, as long as it comes with a big disclaimer, that this is meant as an inspiration part, and we understand it can't be built, but why don't we get into a conversation how we could build it? Then it's fine. When it's really presented with icebergs and stuff like that, and you think like, okay, this is what are we gonna? It shows a bit the immaturity of the industry then, rather than the maturity, I guess.
Anything from your side, Bart, on the media?
What could you do? But I think as such, maybe focusing also a little bit on on the enjoyment of boating. So also to balance out the glamorous lifestyle versus the family enjoyment lifestyle. Maybe that maintaining that balance a little bit. Make sure that there is this balance. And indeed, but also in the wording, try to start educating. There is this difference between quality and finish.
Yeah, that's a good topic to pick up on. Actually, thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
No, because it's so easy to talk. Quality. But what is quality? Quality is not the gloss. It's not the gloss. That's not quality.
Yeah, the gloss can hide a lot of things that aren't quality.
As well, yeah.
All right, listen, thanks a million for your time, guys. Really enjoyed the conversation. Some good stuff in there, and I'll hope to see you in Sneak soon.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Martin.
Cheers.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.